much, Rich. Hey guys. How you doing, Seth?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great.
I'm good.
Did you restart the meeting? Because I just got kicked out.
Huh. Oh, that's weird. No. I didn't do that intentionally. I just joined the meeting. That's
I'll
weird.
just chalk it up to Zoom being weird.
Yeah. Seen a lot of that. They're running the world right now, so they've got a lot on their shoulders.
Yeah.
It's good to see all of you today.
Good to be here.
It's good to see a few of you that joined today that we missed last time. Glad you're here.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, at least, I had an iLearn bug, but it's all sorted out now. I went and talked with them.
Great.
So now I've actually got this class on my iLearn, so.
Awesome. Yeah, there's, I know we had some issues with our class specifically too, because we hadn't set it up fully the morning of Monday morning. So, well, great. Welcome to class today, everybody. And I think we're going to get to know a few new people this morning or this afternoon. Would we have someone who feels like saying the prayer today to start off our class?
I can do it.
Thank you, Kathy.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this day. We are so grateful for the opportunity that we have to be gathered here as a class. We ask you to please bless us as we start off and finish off the semester, that everything can go well, that we may be able to learn about cybersecurity and how to help others stay safe as well. And we're so grateful for all thy many blessings, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So on Monday, we actually went around and had each person introduce themselves. And I know a few of us are new today to the class. So if you could just take a second to say where you live or where you're from, one of them. Maybe what's your major, what brought you to join this class, and something interesting about yourself. Let me see. Hayden, are you new today or were you here Monday?
I wasn't here Monday.
Would you mind going first and introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Hayden Painter. I'm from Grace, Idaho, but I'm married, and so we live in Rexburg right now. I'm a CIT major, and I just thought this class sounded interesting, so that's why I signed up for it.
Cool. And do you want to say something unique about yourself?
My favorite thing to do is golf. I love golfing.
That's good. And do you golf here in Rexburg at all?
I've never been here in Rexburg. No, I usually go when I go home, just because I don't have my clubs here. I leave them at home.
Okay. There's a golf course just down the road from where I live. It's around, I think 3,000 West or 3,500. I think it's 3,000 West, if I remember right. It's either 3,000 or 2,000, but it's kind of, you go on Main Street, you go under the overpass west, under the overpass, and then you'll hit a four-way stop. You turn right, and it's just up the road that way. So anyway,
Okay.
there's a couple golf courses, and both of them are pretty close to each other. But I'm not a golfer, so that's why I wondered. I was going to ask if you like it. It seems like a really nice course. So, and you're from Grace?
Grace, Idaho. Yep.
Cool. I think I've had some friends from that area. So, and let me think. Who else is new? Colin? Great. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Colin Carl. I'm from Chesterfield, Virginia. I'm currently pursuing a CIT degree. Something interesting about me is that I'm already an Oracle certified database technician.
Great. And have you used that training on the job?
Not too much because it's only the first certification, so it's only it only requires you to have
Got it. So it's kind of like an associate level certification.
a little bit lower. It's I took it at my high school. They offered it. It was a 1-year course, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing to do that in high school. And do you foresee yourself going into the database specialization?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Uh-huh. There's a lot of opportunity there. So, well, thanks for introducing yourself, Colin.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me see. Matthew Larson, are you new or were you here on Monday?
Yeah, I'm new.
Mind introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Matthew. I'm from Parker, Colorado. I'm a computer science major. Something interesting about me is I'm pretty good at Super Smash Brothers.
Cool. And a good choice of a major. Computer science is a great one. We were talking a little bit about different majors last class, and I always joke, but I kind of mean it, that the CS majors always beat me in technical interviews. I usually get stuck on algorithms, which is a good part of most programming interviews is algorithm design. And I usually get stumped. So I think you'll be happy you've chosen your major when it comes time for your interviews. Great. Who else is new that didn't have a chance to introduce yourself last week?
I am.
Okay, great. Joseph, do you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Joseph Payne. I'm here up in Rexburg right now, and what's interesting about myself. do ceramics on the side. So I make pottery plates and that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool. And do you have your own wheel?
No, I don't have my own wheel, which has made it a little bit harder in the last little while. But once things start opening up again, I plan to go back.
Yeah. Cool. I have fond memories of when I was a kid. My dad was in college still, and he would take me on campus with him to his pottery class. And so ever since I was a kid, I've wanted to attend the same university as him because of my memories helping him make pots on the pottery wheel. So that's something to me that's cool about pottery. And what was your major, Joseph?
Currently, I'm technically declared as general studies, but I'm planning to do computer science.
Great. Great. Good choice. Let me see. Who else didn't get to introduce yourself yet?
I wasn't here on Monday.
Great. Would you like to introduce yourself, Michael?
Yeah, I actually go by Mike.
Okay, Mike.
I'm a CIT major, born and raised here in Rexburg, living there currently. I've got 5 kids, so that's something interesting about me.
Cool.
And yeah, this just was one of the requirements for the degree, and looking forward to it. So,
welcome, Mike. Yeah, and IT professionals should know about security, and I think you'll get to take 270 as well as part of your program, which I also teach. We have another good teacher for it named Brother Kears. Actually, there's 3 other teachers that teach it. Brother Kears, and I believe, gosh, I'm blanking on names, but Carl Gibbons teaches it as well. Okay.
I'm going to be in class while I'm getting my teeth done, so.
And is it Giovanni Benitez? Is that how you say your name?
It's Giovanni.
Giovanni? Did
Yeah.
you get to introduce yourself on Monday?
No, I wasn't here Monday.
Okay, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Giovanni Benitez. I'm from St. Anthony, Idaho. It's like a town north of Rexburg.
Cool.
Majoring in software engineering. The reason I'm taking this class is because it's a requirement and something interesting. I like rappelling.
Oh, great. Where do you go most frequently?
Well, I usually rappelled when I worked with the water department in the city of Rexburg. When we
cool.
climbed the towers and all that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So isn't there a ladder?
Yeah, there's a ladder on the one on the hill. There's a ladder on that one, but it gets a little sketchy. And then
Really?
and then the ladders in the wells themselves, they're not really stable. So sometimes like near the bottom, you just gotta slide down basically.
Okay. And so you use the ladder kind of like holds if you were climbing a rock wall, but you're not relying wholly on it to support your weight. Is that
exactly?
Very cool. I used to read the power meter on the one on the hill for the power company. I worked for them while I was in college. So.
Oh, the one on the hill?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of power meters up there next to it for, I think, a radio transmitter tower or something. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So I used to go up there every month. That was kind of interesting. Well, good to meet you, Giovanni. And let's see, who am I missing? Who hasn't introduced yourself yet? Dallin?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, my name's Dallin Neely. I'm from Wisconsin, the great state of ice and snow, and cheese, apparently. I'm currently a manufacturing engineering major, but I did take 2 semesters of computer science, and I'm still kind of tossed up between the 2 of them. I'm taking this class because I was initially interested in cyber network security, so I thought it'd be fun to get a taste for it and see if I like it.
Great. Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah. And this is my roommate's dog, or bunny, that acts like a dog. Lola.
Lola. Welcome, Lola. Well, Lola can come to class anytime. She seems pretty well behaved. So
Awesome. Just good.
well, good to meet you, Dallin. Good major choice. Manufacturing engineering is very important thing. I can tell you some stories sometime about why I
love it.
say that.
It's like Legos for adults. It's great.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah. I don't want to keep going because I'll take up the whole class, but I'll talk to you about it sometime.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Good to meet you, Dallin. Okay, who else didn't get to introduce yourself yet? I feel like someone came towards the end of class that didn't get to, but I can't remember. Am I missing anyone?
Well,
Say again?
I'll go next if no one else will.
Please, yeah.
Hi, so I'm Jacob Pickrell. I'm from Casper, Wyoming. Studying CIT. I think, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. So
Sure.
I'm far enough into CIT, I probably should just stick with it at this point. Something unique, I know a lot and nothing about computers. So I'm pretty hands-on, I get it, how to mess with it and work with it, but at the same time, I know absolutely nothing about everything on a technical level. So glad to be here.
Isn't that an interesting feeling to live in that space where maybe some people think of you as an expert and then you know yourself how many things you don't know?
Yeah, quite a bit actually. It's kind of fun to, well, I mean, that's the fun part about being in a class like this is there's a lot of other smart people that can easily tell you this or that. If you have a question about it, just everyone's a little expert in their own way.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone's an expert in something. Cool. Thanks, Jacob, for speaking up. Good to meet you. And Mark, you unmuted for a second. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Mark Johnson Portufe. I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa. I moved up here spring 2017. And my major is software engineering. And I'm taking this class because I'm kind of interested in web security. I want to be a web app pen tester, kind of a thing like that. So
great.
Yeah.
And what's your major again, Mark?
Software engineering. Perfect.
Yeah, you will love that. Being in both spaces is really helpful. If you understand development, your testing takes on a whole new dimension. So that sounds exciting.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask a real quick question. So if you want to do web testing, web security testing and stuff like that, is it necessary for you to get some of the certifications, like the CompTIA and other certifications required?
There are a lot of good certifications out there, and it really depends where you want to work. So the United States government is standardized around CompTIA Security Plus, and that track if you want to work for the government. And I'm not saying that that should be where you work. I'm just saying that certification is ideal for working for the government or government contractors, like in the defense industry, aerospace, things like that. They're going to all want you to get that certification to become part of a classified program. So say you were going to get access to classified documents and things like that. A lot of them want you to have that certification in order to allow you onto their network. But there are other certifications that are more industry wide. They're not specific to government. And what I would recommend for you, Mark, and for anyone in this class who's interested in security as a career, I would recommend joining the Cybersecurity Association on campus. We have a Slack channel for them. I'm trying to find how to share it. I'm in Slack, but I'm trying to think how I would share the link. Oh, here we go. Invite people. Share invite link. Copy. Okay, I'm going to share it in the chat here. So anyone interested in the Cybersecurity Association, I would recommend joining the Slack channel, and they have regular weekly meetings. They can help you with certification, which one would be best for what you want to do. and they have competitions and stuff like that you can do where you learn how to pen test or how to make a system secure. It's a really cool club. There's a lot of activity there. So
Are they still meeting over like Zoom?
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, definitely. They're very active right now. Probably more than any other association I'm aware of in the CIT department. So, well, great questions. Who did I miss? Is there anyone else that we didn't get a chance to introduce yourself? Speak now or we'll miss your chance. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you guys about something really interesting. So in security, there's a concept of it's called identity, and you might be familiar with it, might not. Let's see, let's talk about it for a second. So if you were in an interview and the person interviewing you said, "What is your definition of trust?" What would your answer be? What is your definition of trust? You can just unmute if you have one and share it. It doesn't have to be technical.
I would say like allowing permission, or ensuring that someone will like follow through with whatever it is kind of what I would say.
Yeah. So kind of got both there. You've got, why do you trust somebody? Because you know they'll do what you ask them. And then because you trust them, you're giving them something, it sounds like, right? Good. So those are the two. Mitchell's just hit on the two areas. Go ahead, Ethan. Were you going to say something?
No, I actually just joined in. I was having technical difficulties. Also found out the Zoom link on the syllabus isn't your actual Zoom link. Sorry about that.
Really?
Yeah, that might have been why you had problems last class. The one in the syllabus brings you to a personal meeting room with you, whereas the one in the announcement is your actual one. Sorry.
And did you try the one in the syllabus and it didn't work just now?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I will fix that. Thank you for telling me. So Mitchell just hit on there's two areas called authentication and authorization. So those are kind of the two big areas in identity and access management that we talk about in the industry. So authentication, hold on a second. Let's see if I can get to the right slide. Let's do this. Authentication has everything to do with who you are. So authentication says, I am this person. I am this identity. So when we talk about identity and access management, authentication is who you are. So when you go to a website, how do you prove who you are? Or an app?
Usually through a password or a PIN code.
Good. That's right. So and did someone else have another comment?
Well, and of course, it's further authentications like verification codes and stuff, like Duo, how annoying that is.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication that goes beyond user and password-based authentication. Good. So authentication is what then? What does authentication mean?
It means you're proving that you are the user.
Yes.
That you are who you are.
You are who you say you are. Yeah.
And it means the system doesn't trust you.
Authentication is the way you get the system to trust you, right? Yes. Good. That was extra. So who trusts you? And this could be in a technical or non-technical sense. Who trusts you?
My family and my husband.
Your family, you said?
Yeah, my family and my husband.
Good. And why does your husband trust you?
Because we've developed that type of relationship already, and he knows like what I do and what I don't do.
Good. And he married you, right? So he obviously trusts you. And that's really cool. In a legal sense, that relationship is one of the most well-defined and protected relationships. And you'll find that in a legal sense, a husband and wife are treated equally, like they're almost interchangeable, right? We learned that in church, but it's also a legal thing. A lot of states have what they call common law, which means anything you own belongs equally to you and your spouse. So that's a huge trust, right? Entering into a marriage with someone is a huge trust relationship. It's probably the biggest one that there is. That's a really good example. Thank you. Any other good examples you guys want to share of people who trust you?
I mean, there's some kind of level of trust between members of the church that Old Temple recommends.
Yeah, huge trust. So every time I go to the temple almost, well, not every time, a lot of the times I go to the temple, I think about security. It's interesting because it's probably one of the best examples of security that we have in the church, right? There's all of these things we do. We bring a temple recommend up to the desk. That's authentication, right? The barcode scanning, that's proving our identity. And then because we've proved our identity and we've authenticated, there's a huge amount of trust that we're allowed to come into the temple. So that's a really good example as well. And you hinted on something else, Stefan, I think, beyond holding a recommend. Why did you say, I'm not wanting to put words in your mouth, but why did you say there's a huge amount of trust between members of the church? Do you mind explaining that a little bit?
I feel like whenever we talk about people around us, you see people on the street, you're like, I don't know if I can trust that person. But you see someone and, they say they're a member of the church. I feel like you're like, oh, well, that person must have the same standards as me, especially if, they're dressed nice and they look modest and stuff like that. You feel like you can trust that person because the commandments kind of lead us to trust one another, because that's really what they're all about, is having mutual, loving one another and doing what's right. So if they're going to do what's right, then I can trust that person.
Well, yeah. So there's some
Did you hear
standard.
me?
Yeah, definitely. We can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Did you hear me at all?
Yeah, the whole time.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Stefan. That's a great explanation. Any other examples of people who trust you or people you trust? You could flip it around. Okay, let's talk about an interesting concept with trust. So I had a very interesting experience with something called a network of trust. I had two different experiences that were interesting because they were similar, but very different. So I bought a car when I was 21 years old. I had just got back from my mission, and I found the car that I wanted to buy. It was I had owned a Volvo, a 1980s era Volvo, and loved it. It was a 240 DL. For those of you who know Volvos, I had it in college. I drove it across the country. It had 400,000 miles on it, and it was a very reliable car. I had a knee injury, and I could no longer drive a stick. So I wanted to buy another car, but I wanted it to be a Volvo because I now was a loyal brand loyal customer. So I looked in the newspaper and I found a Volvo that looked really good and the price was reasonable. So I called the seller of the car and contacted him and told him of my interest. And the first thing the man said was, I told him I was working with the bank on getting a car loan, and he said, please don't call me until you're pre-qualified to buy the car. That was pretty much the only thing he said. Oh, that's fine. And I figured he was just careful about who he dealt with. So I got my loan approved, called him back. I said, okay, I'm pre-approved. I have been approved for $4,000 car loan, and now I'd like to buy your car. So he invited me to come to his home, and I looked at the car, and I'm not a mechanical person, and I thought, this looks like a good car. I drove it around the block. It seemed clean inside, and it seemed to run well. So I went with him to the bank. And here we were sitting at a bank, and I'm the blue block here. Can you guys see my screen? Am I sharing? Okay. I'm the blue block. I am an account holder with a bank. And here is the gray block, this gentleman, who is my business partner. I could have called it something else, but I'm having a business transaction with. So I sit down at the bank, and I ask the bank to write a check to this gentleman. And they did it. They wrote him a check for $4,000 and gave it to him. And this gentleman took the money, I took the keys to the car, and we went our separate ways. A few weeks later, the car had severe mechanical problems. It became evident to me that this gentleman had done some major modifications to the engine that were against most sound mechanical principles, and he had sold me a lemon, a clunker, a bad car. So I called this gentleman, and I said, there's something seriously wrong with your car that you sold me. And he proceeded to explain that there had been some major repairs from a friend of mine. Those repairs were not done correctly. And I was stuck with this car that didn't work very well. And he had the money. So why did the bank give this man $4,000?
Because they trusted that you trusted him.
That's right. Like, that's what happened. And you'll see this pattern in life very frequently. It happens with friends. You'll have a friend who comes over that doesn't know another friend, and you mediate an interaction, and it's all very intuitive and natural. We don't think about it like, well, I trust him and they trust me, and so they're going to trust this friend of mine. We don't think about it that way. It just happens. It's very natural. Humans trust people who they know someone trusted trusts, right? Just like this diagram. So the bank didn't have a relationship with this man, but because they had a relationship with me, I had a bank account with them. I had money in their bank. I had proved my identity to them. And this man had not done any of those things. But because I had done all of those things, they trusted him with me as a proxy, right? Now, I want to talk about another situation that's similar and different. I went to buy another car. I was in Utah, and I had an account with an Idaho. I think I got this backwards. Hold on. This should say Utah. Is that right? No, that's right. So I have this bank account with an Idaho credit union, but I was in Utah, okay? And they said, well, because you have an account in Idaho, we'll let you take your money out here. Fine. So I got a loan. I was buying a car from a gentleman, and this time it was a good car, okay? But I didn't go into my own bank. I went into the Utah credit union that I have no relationship with. And it was something that was very interesting to me. They would not trust this person. They wouldn't give him the money. Why do you think that is?
Because they trust the bank, and that bank trusts you, but that bank doesn't trust that person.
It's further away, isn't it? If you look at this diagram, you're absolutely right, Stefan. So there was a trust relationship between the account holder and the credit union in Idaho. There was a trust relationship between the Utah credit union and the Idaho credit union. And because of that, this Utah credit union, they would extend their trust far enough to me, right? Because of this mutual friend, quote unquote. But that mutual friend was not adequate to push their trust out here. And you'll find that all over the place. It happens in real life, and it happens with people all the time. If you have a gathering, you'll notice this pattern if you watch. It's very, very cool. So basically, all of IT and computers and all of computer security boils down to this very simple principle called a network of trust. And a network of trust has to do with who you trust and why you trust them and what privileges you will let them have. And that gets extended to others through login systems and identity and access management systems. But at the crux of it, there's a person out there who's willing to give you access to a system because of certain factors. And that's how all trust is established. So let's look at how authentication works for a minute. Let's go to a application. And this is the URL for it. Get it to load, please. There we go. I'm going to share this in the chat window so that you guys have this as well. And we're going to do some experiments today with trust. If I can get the chat window to come, that would be good. There you go. There it is. Okay, this is an application that I wrote that has a very basic identity and access management system. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn about how systems enforce security through passwords. So I want you guys to watch what I'm doing. How many of you have Chrome? How many of you have Chrome? Raise your hand as a browser. Maybe we should say how many do not have Chrome? Raise your hand. Have to be shy. Okay, Hayden, do you have Firefox?
I have Safari.
Okay, that's fine. Safari will do this as well, and I have Safari also. Anybody else that has a browser that's not Safari and not Chrome?
Jeremy.
What's that, Jeremy?
Sorry, I just left that up. Yeah. I do have something else, but it's a Chromium based browser, so it should be in all respects.
So do you
like
have
Chrome.
Firefox?
No, it's Chrome based. It's the Vivaldi. But
Okay. Does it
it's all,
have a? Do you have a developer tab? Do you know?
yeah.
Okay. Cool. I might have to work with you a little bit. So what I want you guys to do is I'd like all of you to pull up this website in your browser of choice, if you could please. And then I'd like you to create an account. Now, I'm not very good at this. So the password, if I remember right, the password has to have 6 digits, upper, lower, a number, and a special character. But I think there's a limit on number of characters, and I think it has to be like 10 or less, and that's not clearly stated on the website. So if I do, so I'm going to just type it up here, PASSWORD and the symbol, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 symbols. I think that'll work for a password. So I'm going to put that in here. And then let's see if it works. Come on. Oh, what? I should have tested this in advance. I don't know why it's freaking out. So let's see. Make it shorter. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up something real quick. When you're in a non-church setting, they would say, I didn't pray to the demo gods today. That's what they would say. But I know we don't believe in demo gods, so I always have a hard time with that one. I don't really believe in that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this application locally for a minute. Maybe we can look at what's failing right now. So this is called an integrated development environment. This one is called IntelliJ. If you're a .NET programmer, you would use Visual Studio. If you're another programmer, you might use VS Code. There's all kinds of them out there. And what I've just done is started this application running on my own computer. So it's now available at this URL. And 0.0.0.0 is a way of saying everything on this computer. Now what I'm going to do is put that same password in. I'll just do another one.
I don't know if this changes anything, but I went ahead and created an account on my computer and it worked just fine.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did the same as well. My password was exactly 10 characters and it worked just fine.
Sweet. Oh, good. All right. Well, hopefully everyone can find a password that it will accept. Can you let me know if you can't find one that it will accept, and maybe we've got some classmates who will help you.
Sorry, so should we use actual real emails or all fake stuff?
I would just use fake stuff.
Okay.
And thanks, Ethan, for being my sanity check. Sometimes I need that.
Including email? Fake stuff?
Say again?
Including the email, use a fake email.
I would.
Okay.
But it's not a big deal either way. Okay, and now can you raise your hand if it didn't work for you, if you're not able to create a user? Okay, Hayden needs a little help on his. Derek needs a little help on his. Okay, and Matthew. So let's see, what's it doing? Is it just sitting here like this with you guys? Yeah.
Brother Murdoch, are you sharing your screen right now?
I think so.
Yeah, he is.
Huh.
You're not able to see it?
Oh, now I can see it. So I'm doing this all from my phone, so
no problem.
It's just different.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm trying to get you guys a password that'll work. Just hold on a sec.
Yeah, I used a capital and an exclamation point and some numbers, 10 digits long. It worked fine.
Oh, maybe
Same
I
here.
forgot the upper. Hold on, that's probably it. I probably forgot an uppercase letter. And this is bad UI, right? Good UI would tell you what you were missing. Sorry about that. No good so far. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the password in here. And I am going to see what it doesn't like about mine. And I'd be happy to help those of you who are struggling to get yours to work. So this one, I'm going to hit submit. It doesn't like it. And then I'm going to come over here to my IDE. And it's going to say what it doesn't like. Oh, username's already there in this case. So let's try Sean3. Okay, so the password that I got to work, which obviously you would never do this in a real scenario, but I'm going to share a password with you guys. It's just fake for this exercise. And this is the password that I got to work.
By the way, how did you open that stuff, all of that up in, what was it, VS Code or whatever you were using?
Yeah. So this is called IntelliJ. And the way I did it was I have checked this code out from GitHub. And I would be glad to share the repository with you guys.
You can press F12 and pull up a similar thing in Chrome.
Yes. So if you go to More Tools, Developer Tools, there's some interesting stuff here. So you can see here that there's a server error. If you go to the Network tab, if you were to try and click Submit, it's 500 status. And often there's a message that comes back that tells you why it failed. But you'll notice there's a little less information here than the one I have. Let's see. Doesn't give. So this is the request payload. So what I did, and we're going to use this today, but actually before I do that, how many, hold on 1 second. Okay, how many have still yet to get a password created? Can you raise your hand? Okay, Giovanni, can you unmute and I can help you?
Sure.
Okay, what's up? Is it not working for you?
Yeah, I'm at the verify the password and it's just not letting me go through.
Okay, so you're creating a user?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you try the one I sent in the chat for the password?
No. Let me look at it.
I got that to work.
I was gonna ask, what is a repository exactly? Is that like a version of a program, like this specific repository for a program?
Yeah, it's a good question, Stefan. So if you've heard of GitHub, have you heard of GitHub?
I have.
So in GitHub, what you'll have if you go out there is you have a list of what's called repositories. And then in there, you've got all these different projects that you've worked on. So here's a bunch of them. So if I choose one, this is the one I was just working on. So it's called Steady. That's just the name I gave it. You can make up your own name. And then here's all the code that goes with that project. And then you can share it with others through this URL. And so I believe it's a public project.
So each project has a bunch of different files in them, or that repository has a bunch of different files in it, basically.
Yeah, each repository has a bunch of different files. That's correct.
Okay, do you know what a gem is?
Gem?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I thought that, so gem I thought was like a repository that's always updated to the most recent version. Like it updates and you don't have to send them the repository every time. Like you don't have to, I guess, save it and upload it every time. It just automatically kind of updates to what they have so far.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. This one with GitHub, you have to update the changes manually on your side and then push them to the repository. That's how it works. But it's pretty popular. GitHub's very popular. Seems like it works pretty well for a lot of people, at least. Now, Giovanni, did that address your issue?
Yeah, it worked.
Great. Who else needs help setting up a password? Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is kind of fun. So if you can find your developer tab, and this is where if there are those who have a non-Chrome browser, I'll probably want to help you. But in Chrome, you would just go up to the top right, and mine looks weird because it's out of date, but usually it's a different icon on the upper right here. And then you'd go to More Tools, and then you go to Developer Tools. Can you follow along with that, those of you who are on Chrome? And then if you're on something else, I can help you get to this too, in Safari or something else. Anyone have questions so far on Chrome getting to this point?
We're going to developer tools whenever we're logged in.
Say again?
Once we're logged in, we go to developer tools?
Yeah, uh-huh. Anyone have issues with getting to the developer tools? Be glad to help you if you did. Okay, and now in Safari, let's bring that up real quick. If you ever go into web development, you'll learn real quick you have to get along with at least 3 browsers. Everything has to work on at least 3 browsers. Let's see, where are you, Safari? There you are. Okay, now let's go to this website, Safari. Okay, let's see if I can remember how we get to it. Safari. I know it's here. Where is it? If anyone knows, you can just yell it out. I'm trying to remember. Safari Preferences Advanced. Safari Preferences Advanced. Show developer menu in menu bar. I don't remember who was Safari, maybe Hayden, but it looks like this is it. Can you get to that? Okay. it's under Safari and then Preferences and then Advanced, and you want to check this box.
Okay, it was already checked, but okay.
Sweet. Okay, and then it looks like that should add something to your menu bar. Let's see. Now where is it? It's because I've enabled it. Show developers, file developer help. Maybe if I shut down Safari. Develop. Show snippet editor. Would like to see open page with between bookmarks and windows. Been a long time since I've done Safari. The menu will now be visible. Oh, develop, yeah. So it's just the develop drop down. Now, how do I see? Thanks for being patient, guys. The debug menu. So we can, okay. So network. Let me see the Open Safari JavaScript console.
If you click on the develop and you scroll down, it says show JavaScript console or show page sources, and then it opens up bottom.
Okay, so let's see. So if I go to develop, show
And that one.
JavaScript console.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good job.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay, so it was like this, Hayden, it was develop and then show JavaScript console. Did that work for you? Sweet. And then there's a tab called network here. Okay, how's Jeremy doing? Did you figure all this out already, Jeremy?
Yeah, I got it.
Good job. Okay, what I want you guys to figure out is when you log in, so let me show you a couple of things real quick. So let me go here first. Click the network tab, okay? And let's look at what we're seeing here. So the first thing on the left in this view is a URL that's getting called from the browser. The way browsers work is all based off URLs. Everything has a URL. And so the browser calls the URL for something and it gets back what it's asking for, typically. This status code is telling you whether that worked successfully or not. A 200 means that it worked. If you have anything other than a 2, starting with a 2, that means there's something wrong. In the example we looked at earlier, we were getting a 500. So if you look at this view, where I was trying to do something that didn't work, I was sending to this URL, and you notice how I clicked on it and it popped up a bunch of stuff. I can close that too. But on each line, you can click it and get a more detailed view of that specific request. So you'll see, here's the URL that it was calling. And the method it's calling is called post. Does anyone know what that means? Post. So post means that it's creating something. That's what post means. On the internet, there's 4 basic methods. There's get, put, post, and delete. Those are the main 4 you need to know. So typically, if you look at this website, just google.com, all of these are gets. So if I click on any one of them, you'll see the request method is a get. What do you think a get would mean? What would a get method mean?
I believe a get method is just retrieving information, such
That's
as
right.
if you put something into the tab or your own personal information or preferences that you have.
Yeah, it could be any resource. So your browser is requesting that resource. It's requesting it from a URL. That's what a get is. So in this case, it said, okay, 200 literally means okay. That's what 200 means. And in this case, it said 500, which means server error, no. 500 is like saying no. So if you look at each row in here, each one of these is a different call that the browser made to make this page load. That's how browsers load a page. They do a bunch of gets, and then it renders everything. That's how it works. And you might notice sometimes it renders as it goes because not everything comes right away. So it renders what it can get, and then it keeps working on it. On the time column, you'll see how long it took that URL to load. So some of them are really fast, 4 milliseconds, 11 milliseconds. Some of them take longer, 122 milliseconds, which is still pretty fast. So if I click on one of these, the cool thing is I can actually see the response, what came back. So I clicked on a row called api.js, and it was calling this URL with a get, and it said, okay, but it also gave it what it was asking for. So normally you don't get an okay unless you're also going to get something. So it got all this content back, all these response headers. The interesting thing is, I'm not seeing the actual response. Oh, there it is. Whoa, where'd it go? Cancel. Okay. So if I click on the response tab on this one, it says this request has no response data available. So let's try another one. Oh, look at that. So on this one, this is what it gave it back. It gave it a bunch of JavaScript, which you can't read because it's been minified, they call it. It makes the code unreadable. If you can't read it, don't feel bad. But this request was to this URL, this long URL under gstatic.com. Does anyone know what gstatic.com does?
No.
Any guesses?
Is it like a static IP?
Very good guess, Zed. Thanks for speaking up too. So all websites have a static IP address behind them. And actually, when you look up Google, So if you go to a terminal or command line in Windows, command prompt, and you do this, nslookup google.com, you'll actually get back an IP address. So the browser is actually doing that same thing that I just told you. It does an nslookup, which is a DNS lookup, and it says, what's the IP address for this domain? And then a DNS server, which is hosted by my internet company, gives it the response. And then my browser actually pulls up this IP address. gstatic is actually a website dedicated to things that don't change. So that's why they call it static, so you can get stuff like JavaScript that's not going to change anytime soon, at least not in the next 5 minutes. So what I want to do now is if you could go ahead, if you're logged in, if you could go ahead and log out of this site, so you get to this page, hold on, or actually get to this page, the login screen. Can everyone get back to the login screen on this web app for a second?
Maybe it's just me. I'm not seeing a log out button anywhere, actually.
Oh, really?
Same.
You
If you just re-put in the
I literally
you just re-put in the original URL.
Okay. Sorry for my bad programming. So does that make sense? Just go back to this URL and it should put you at this login. Did that work for everyone? Or is anyone stuck? Can you raise your hand if you're stuck and not able to get to this screen? Okay.
On the screen, but I can't figure out how to see what you're seeing because mine just shows a blank space there where it shows name and status and type.
On the Chrome tab, or the developer tab, rather?
Yeah, all it says is recording network activity.
Okay.
You just have to hit Control R.
That reloads it, right? So if you could also do it by clicking this little arrow to the left of the URL, and it should give you a bunch of stuff. Did that work?
Where is it exactly?
So just reload the page is all you have to do, however you want to do it.
While you're in the network settings, reload.
Yeah,
Gotcha, it loaded. Yeah.
Sweet. That happens to me a lot. I'll forget to have it up, and then when I pull it up, it won't show you anything. So you just have to do it again. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want you to log in with whatever credentials you got. Whatever credentials worked for you. I can find the password that I set up for this one. Where's my chat? And go ahead and log in. Once you've got your password, whatever it is, click login. And can somebody share your screen? Who's willing to drive for a minute? Oh, you know what? Hold on. We're at our breaking point, I think. It's 3:06. So let's go ahead and have a break. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, let's take 10 minutes. We'll be back at 3:16. Feel free to go get something to eat, something to drink, whatever.
Brother Murdoch, I do have a quick question for you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
On my iLearn dashboard, it's asking me to take the final already. It was said it was due back on the 7th.
Oh no. Okay. I'll fix that. You can ignore it.
Okay.
I thought I had fixed all the dates in iLearn, and I apparently haven't.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, it looks like from your previous block, it has just the one that got kind of held over.
Yeah, I'm sure that's it. Thank you for the heads up on that.
I mean, if you want to, we could take the final right now and see how it goes.
No, you don't have to do that.
The bright red, like a fake red.
Like a Black Widow red?
Yeah. The guy I almost was engaged to, he was a terrible.
Now, if we change the break to like 20 minutes, it'd be perfect for a cat nap.
Yeah, when I was a missionary, I remember we'd take a nap every day at lunchtime. That was so nice.
Where did you serve your mission at?
Alaska?
The frozen tundra.
Yeah, many are cold, but few are frozen.
What part of Alaska are you in?
Fairbanks and Anchorage were the main two areas. It's beautiful in the summer. I encourage everyone to visit during the summer. It's really nice.
I've got a friend serving in the Anchorage mission right now.
Oh, great.
But they've been quarantined for a while, and I think it's been pretty cold anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like it's warming up a little bit, but they got there in November.
Yeah.
And they're from Arizona, and so it was kind of tough of a transition for them.
Yeah, totally. And Anchorage, it depends. Do you know what town they're in by chance?
I have no idea. Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's funny to see the difference in temperature between Anchorage and Fairbanks. Anchorage is on the ocean, and then Fairbanks is right in the middle of the state, and it's like a 60-degree difference. So in the wintertime, they'll have like 30, 40 below zero in Fairbanks, and then it'll be 20 degrees in Anchorage. Okay, welcome back, guys. So I think where we left off, we were going to log in. And could someone share their screen? Is anyone willing to do that?
I can go ahead and do that.
Great. Ethan.
So yeah, this is what I have so far. The main site, and then I have the developer stuff all pulled up.
Great. Can you click on the network tab on the right?
Network tab?
Yeah, so right.
Oh.
Yeah, go to console sources network. Perfect. And then, thank you. Can you put your password in and click login? Nice. Okay. Okay, great.
Are we back?
Yes, we are back. So something just happened. What just happened?
He got authenticated.
That's right. He's authenticated. What changed about his view on the left side when that happened?
I mean, it loaded a new page. I don't know if that's like
that's right.
correct.
Yeah, loaded a new page. That's great.
Does anything change on the right side?
Yeah, it did. So if you look at, can you click on timer.html, Ethan, that first row, and click the response tab inside of there? So this is how that page loaded, the one that it allowed him to get access to when he authenticated. Can you click on the left of that, Ethan, on the very last row? If you go over one to the left where timer was, if you go below timer all the way to the last row, can you click that for me? Let's see. Okay, that's different than what I thought it was. So there's a request that took place that we aren't seeing here. And what the request did, and thank you for doing that, Ethan. What happened when he did the login, it was a post request of his username and his password. And what happened is a token was given back. And I'm going to see if I can show you that. So let's go ahead and log in over here.
I don't know if this helps, but the token itself looks like if you go to timer, the JavaScript for it, and on line 6, that's where it's getting that token that you're talking about.
Yes. Actually, do you want to share your screen again, Ethan? So can you go ahead and put a breakpoint on line 6? Do you know how to do that? You click to the left of the number 6.
Right here?
Yeah, just to the left of it. Can you click on the white space there?
I'm clicking on it, but nothing's
Oh,
happening.
we're on response. Hold on. Can you click sources instead of network? It's up above there. Perfect. You can go to timer.js. And let's actually put a breakpoint on line 7 as well. Can you click there? Great. Okay. Now, can you reload this page? See if it works. Perfect. Okay, so what just happened is Ethan just stopped the site from loading, which is what we wanted to do. Now, if you hover over user token, the variable name, see how it says undefined? So what's about to happen is when he logged in, the website put a token into something called local storage in the browser. And that gets saved. So you might notice when you go back to some websites, they just let you in just without a password because you've already logged in before. And that's how this is supposed to work, even though it doesn't really work very well. Now, if we go ahead, there's a blue play button down to the left above where it says paused on breakpoint. Do you see that, Ethan? There's a blue play button in the center of your screen. There you go. Click that if you would. Now, can you hover over locals, over user token again? There you go. So that is the token. Good job. You found it. So what is the point of that? Why? It's kind of a weird looking thing.
Aren't these vars just supposed to refer to the HTML?
Say again, Stefan?
Or aren't these vars supposed to refer to, well, I was going to say HTML, but the CSS, like this is, use those to kind of shorthand something longer. Var this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these are variables and they represent something. So in this case, user token is a reference to that big string. Do you see that pop-up bubble above user token that has a big long string FF5, 99, F64, and so on. So user token is a way of storing that data in the code. Well, let's see what else it's doing. Ethan, could you expand out the JavaScript a little bit, that timer.js, so we can read it a little more? Cool. Thank you. Let's scroll down. See if it references that token anywhere. Oh, let's look at line 43. On line 43, we're passing that token. Interesting. Why do you think the code would be passing that token to the back end?
I would say primarily to check if the account exists and if like the token matches like the entered username and password.
Definitely, yeah. Do some validation and verify that the person who's wanting to make an update is who they say they are, kind of thing. Definitely. Good.
Quick question then. So if a user were to sign out of an account, does that token get deleted?
Good question. Yeah, it does.
Okay, and if you were to sign back in, it would create a new one.
A new one, not the old one. That's right.
Okay.
So this that's a great question, Josh. This token is tied to something called a session. Does anyone know what that is?
I'm assuming that a session takes like a cookie. Well, I don't think you use cookies in here to like keep you logged in.
Yeah, cookies are used a lot of times instead of local storage. So you'll see the same behavior here that we're talking about in cookies a lot of the time. Ethan, could you click on the application tab for a second? And then on the left, thank you. Could you click local storage under storage? And then can you click the URL? Oh, look at that. There's the token. So a lot of times you'll find this under cookies, which we don't use cookies on this website, but a lot of websites use cookies for the same purpose. And you can go look at them. Could someone take this token and get my password from it?
I'm going to say no just because it's encrypted.
Any other thoughts?
I think so. Well,
kind of a side
encryption.
Mitchell, go ahead.
Oh, I just had another question in regards to kind of the token. Because to what I'm understanding is the token would be more kind of like a single instance sort of thing, like a single session. But then my question would be something like, for example, a mobile phone, or you have like an application, maybe like a social media, so like Facebook or Twitter, where you're always signed in, right? So every time I open the app, I'm not like having to type my password back in. I'm always signed in. So I'm curious kind of on how that would work in regards to like a token per se, if it's like multiple devices with like different sign, just kind of this general question.
That's a great question. Usually what happens when a token is issued is it's given an expiration date. And that's not in the token necessarily, but it can be. So there's something called a Json Web Token. And in a Json, well, I'll show you one. Let me go to a very popular website, ancestry.com, sign in. Okay, so if I go here to the developer tab again, am I sharing? Probably not sharing. Here we go. We'll share now. Okay, so if I go to ancestry.com and I go to the developer tab and go to application and I'm logged in, okay, if I go to application and then I go to cookies, and go to ancestry, there's a very important cookie here. Does anything look familiar about the value to you guys? Or kind of familiar? It's kind of gibberish, right? It doesn't look like anything, but actually, believe it or not, this is something. So if I take this and copy it, I can decode it. Oh, what did I do? Must have missed something. No. All right, I'm going to go to jwt.io. This is a very helpful website. So a Json Web Token means your token actually has stuff encoded in it. It's not just gibberish. Now you might say that looks like gibberish, but actually there's something to it. So what happened is it just base 64 decoded this token. Now, if you look at the token, do you see any dots in it on the left side? How many dots are there? Can you raise your hand and show how many fingers you think? 2 dots. That's right. That's right. So those dots break this header up into pieces. So I break the token into pieces. So before the first dot, this section here is called a header. And if you were to base, that's what I did wrong. I always forget this. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to decode each piece of this separately because a dot is not a legal character. Base 64 does not support dots. So I'm going to go ahead and decode the first bit like this, and look what I got. So I got type JWT. That's the type of token. The algorithm is ES256. The key ID is 1. Okay. Any questions on what those things mean?
So I guess like why is this helpful? What do we use this for, kind of thing? I don't know if we talked about that, but
No, that's a great question. So Mitchell was asking, if I'm logged in on my phone to Facebook, why don't I ever have to log in? And what the answer is right here, when you log in to any website or app, you get a token back and you won't see it. You don't see that on the website, right? It doesn't show you the token, but you got one. And in the token, there's an expiration date. And right here, can you guys see that? It's kind of small. Can you see the expiration date in the black?
Yeah.
When does it expire?
3:59.
3:59 GMT, right? Oh no, Mountain Time. 3:59 Mountain Time. So how far out is that?
26 minutes, 25 minutes.
Good. So I only have 25 minutes. So this, how long was the token issued for? What do you think the number of minutes was that it was giving me?
An hour?
30 minutes, right? Because it's 3:34 and I hit this page at 3:29 and it gave me a token the last 30 minutes.
So does the website you're on just determine that expiration date?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah,
So
good question.
Facebook thing, maybe they have 2 weeks and then it has you log back in or something.
Well, I'll tell you what actually happens, Chandler. That's a great question. What usually happens is the app will have saved the last token that you had somewhere in storage. And depending on the policy, you may be able to renew the token without revalidating with your credentials. So say it's a trusted device like your phone, where you're on that phone all the time. They recognize that in the request, and they're willing to extend that token every time you go and use it. And you don't see that happen. But say Facebook decided that you were a criminal and that you were someone they didn't want on your platform. How do you think they would prevent you from using it the next time you went into Facebook?
You'd be logged out.
You'd be logged out. But what does that actually mean?
Either they don't issue the token or they set it to like a negative value or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. They've invalidated your token and they've made it impossible to renew it. So then your app would all of a sudden, even though it works all the time, you go and pull it up and it would bring you to the login screen. Has that ever happened to you before?
Yeah.
It does happen sometimes. And it's probably because you're not a criminal. I mean, if it does happen, it doesn't mean you are a criminal. I'm sorry if I implied that. But there's lots of reasons they can invalidate a token, right? And usually being a criminal is like the last one on the list.
So will they also change the lengths of like the amount of time that a token is valid for security reasons? Like at my last job, we had a token on our lanyard that changed every couple of minutes. And in order to log in, we had to put in the code that was on there at that time. And if it expired while we were typing it in, it was bad. We had to do a different one. Is that what it's using?
So was that an RSA token?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very similar. An RSA token is a little bit different, but the idea is very similar. There are so many different kinds of tokens. It's a really interesting field to study, and there's a lot you can learn about it. These are great questions. Good job, guys. This is fun discussion.
So, so this gives us information about what this is, right? Like this isn't the password though, is it?
Good question. Is this a password? Is this a password?
No. I'm gonna assume it's not a password.
No, it's not a password. So when I logged into Ancestry, let me log out again. I'm going to do it one more time. So now if I go look at cookies, look what happened. My cookie's gone. Secure ATT is no longer there. That's the name of the cookie they use. I used to work there, so I know what it's called. It's not anything like that you can't share. It's not a big deal. Lots of people know what it is. But I just typed my password over here, okay? Very, very similar, right? This is like on every single website you ever go to. You have a username and a password. Click sign in. Oops, what did I do? I typed the wrong one. Okay, so I typed my password, and all of a sudden my cookies got expanded, right? So if I go back and look for that same cookie, there it is again. And now let's go ahead and look, look at if it's the same or different. Now this one expired at 329. Oh, that's the issue. That's the expiration is 359. All right, now let's look at the new one. Copy the whole thing. Expires at 1608, and my password is nowhere in here. No way. So tokens are typically what's called irreversible, and that's a great question that we need to understand. Is does a token have a password? No, absolutely not, and never should it. It should only be enough information for the system to identify your session uniquely with you. And so in here, there's actually some information about me, believe it or not. This is called a subfield. Anyone know what a sub means?
Like a field within a field?
Good. Yeah, sub can mean like that, like a something down inside, right? Submarine, subtopic. In this case, it's actually short for subject. So a subject is, who does this token pertain to? Who's the identity that we're dealing with?
User.
And that, go ahead.
User.
Yes, it's a user in this case. So that number identifies me uniquely, but again, it's not my password. It's something that's tied to my identity, but it's not my password.
So this is kind of like how a factor is like a way of identifying yourself, but it's not your password.
Yeah, it's kind of like your user ID in this case. Like a lot of people, you know your user ID, but they can't necessarily impersonate you with that information. Yeah, great questions. So we're going to do a breakout session and talk a little bit more about some of these important subjects. And I'm going to give you guys something to use to discuss it. So if you go, I'm going to share the link to this Google slide. You'll need to log in as your BYUI account and you'll have access automatically. If you go to slide 13, you'll see 4 questions. And I'd like someone to take turns asking them. Since there's 4, each person should get the chance to ask the question. And then I'd like everyone to take a turn answering about the question, if you would. I would really appreciate that. And then I'm going to share this link with you all. Let's see here. Keep losing my chat window. There it is. Any questions on what's expected of you for the last little bit? Just a group discussion. Okay.
All I have to do is talk about it and
see
what we think. Wait, are we talking about that discussion we had on the discussion board?
No, this is different.
Okay, that's not this class.
Hold on, that is this class. I might be tearing you 2 different directions. Let me not do that. Hold on. A second. You just did it right there. It let me in without signing me in. I think. Nope, it didn't. I tried to. It didn't work. If you're trying to access the slides, you need to log in with your BYUI credentials. So in the upper right corner here, you'll want to choose your BYUI account. And if it's not there, you'll want to click add another account like this. And then you'll want to type your BYUI email address like that. And then, you'll want to log in with your BYUI credentials. That'll give you automatic access to the slide.
Telling me I need to request access even though I am logged into the my BYUI account.
Oh, really?
Doing the same thing over
Yeah,
here.
it still says we need to have access.
Oh, maybe I didn't set it up right. Hold on. Ah, I didn't. Thank you for telling me that. 1 second here.
If you're able to post it on the course, though, you should be able to access it.
People added can open with this link. Change link to BYU Idaho. Got it. Anyone at BYU Idaho with this link can view. I fixed it, I think, and let me share a new link.
It's working for me now.
Yep, works great.
Sweet. Same link? Okay, sweet. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, now let's look at today in the class. Corporation discussion, digital assets. Complete the following before coming to class. Be prepared to discuss in class 1 or 2 common denominators or principles you learn that govern safeguarding of digital assets. After, contribute a follow-up post. Yeah, you can do this too, and this should be first. Please do this first. Thank you for bringing that up. I think you should do this before you work on the other discussion, just in case you run out of time. I will go ahead and split you up into your groups.
I still can't log in online. That's mostly just because I'm not using the other.
Say again. It's because what?
I'm not on my other email, like my BYUI email. I'm just on my Gmail.
So you can just go ahead and you should be able to click on the upper right in Drive and click Add Account. Do you see that?
No, I don't.
Okay, if you go to accounts.google.com, then you should be able to, on the upper right corner, click your avatar, your little picture, and then go to add another account.
I'll work on it.
Okay, and the thing is, someone in your group will have access to it, so don't sweat it too much. All right, so now we're gonna put you guys in your rooms, breakout rooms.
Brother Murdoch, what are we discussing before the questions in the slide?
So in Canvas for today, there's a discussion assignment.
Okay, I see.
Good question. Sorry, I'm just getting you set up. I'll try and automate this for next time. That's my goal. Is Gavin here today? Sounds like he's not.
Got it. Hey, so are you using the Linux command line to write these functions? Or these statements?
Which one? The base64 one? Or
Yeah.
different one? Yeah. Uh-huh.
With the pipeline? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, with pipe. Yeah. That's what I use usually. Okay, it looks like we're going to need to create a couple new groups. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. Some of you may not have got prompted to join a group, and that's just fine because we're going to set up a couple more.
If we did get a prompt, should we go ahead and join that group?
Yes, please. And you are welcome to.
If we didn't get a prompt.
Say again.
What if we didn't get a prompt?
Then I'm going to fix it for you right now. Those of you who don't have one will soon. So I've just, in Canvas, I've just created group 6 and group 7, and I'm about to add group 8. So if you go into Canvas, what happens is you go to the class, this class that we're in right now, which is 171. And then you'll go to people, and then you should see project groups. What the heck? I don't know what that is. Project groups. And then you should see group 6, group 7, and group 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We actually don't need group 8. And you should join one of group 6 or 7 if you didn't get sent to a group.
Thank you.
Yes. And does anyone need help joining a group in Canvas?
Yeah, I could use some help.
Okay. Can you share your screen, Jacob?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so where do I go from here?
Canvas? So under byui.edu, you'll want to log in.
I did. I'm under that now.
Okay. And then you'll want to, in Canvas is different from Google Slides. So you're going to go to just the regular URL in the browser.
Okay.
So byui.edu and log in. Perfect. That was it. You were in it in structure just a second ago. If you go back.
And dashboard?
Yeah, that's it. And then click on courses. Oh, there you go. Perfect. And then people on the left. And then go to groups. And then just join group 6 or group 7. Perfect. So now I'll go ahead and send everyone in group 7 and 6 to their breakout rooms. It looks like there's 4 in group 6 and 1 in group 7. So it looks like a couple of you guys still can join a group that haven't yet. Let's see.
So my internet just failed, so I'm now on my phone. So I'm not sure if that is working right.
Okay, and sorry, who is this?
This is Joseph Payne.
Okay, Joseph. Let's see. Did you get to join a group yet?
I was just about to, but it didn't.
Okay, I will put you in group 7.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and assign you and Matt to group set to breakout room 7. 1 second. And then Colin. Did you get to join a group yet, Colin? Are you with me, Colin? So Colin, I'm putting you in group 7. And you should be able to click the button. Hey guys, you're trying to leave
Hey.
a class, or did you have a question?
I had a quick question. I was wondering if any of the assignments were going to be posted onto the calendar system for Canvas.
They not showing up for you?
Because yeah, currently nothing is showing up for the assignments that are due.
Thanks for pointing that out. Let me check that out real quick.
So for the the assignment, the discussion board this week, it said after the Zoom meeting, post your ideas about it or something like that after we've discussed it.
Yeah.
So do we just reply to someone and be like, oh, here's my 2 cents about that, how you could have resolved that? Is that all we have to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, cool. So one reply or
yeah, one is fine. You could do more.
Okay. Perfect. So one response, one reply. I'll do that. Thank you so much, and see you later.
How's everything going, Stefan? Are you in Utah?
No, I'm not.
You're in Georgia?
I had to cancel the flight because I couldn't find a place to live.
Dang.
So
Well,
I'm gonna have to go later.
Okay. Well, that seems like you're surviving, at least.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Cool. Your brother's in our prayers. What's his first name again?
Timothy.
Timothy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks. I'll remember that.
Thanks again.
Yep, sure. See ya. Zed, I'm working on that.
See ya.
Okay, that's fine. The other thing I noticed was there isn't a assignment to turn in the group project. When I'm looking at the syllabus, there's nothing for our first or second or third to turn in our lesson.
So let's see, group project overview, preparation, discussion, digital assets. There's a...
Yeah, so it says the first lesson's due at the end of week 2, and the only thing I see for week 2 is the quiz, the assignment, and the preparation discussion.
Can you show me what you're
Yeah, sure. Let's pop this up. Okay. So here's the group project overview, right?
Mhm.
And it says first lesson's due at the end of week 2. And then this is all week 2 right here. And there's nowhere to turn in the group project.
It's assignment outline for 5th Sunday lesson and period.
Okay, that's what this is.
That's what it should be.
Okay, cool. It's just
But-
named something different. All right,
Yeah, that's a good question. And then
cool.
can you show me calendar? It's not
Sure.
showing anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything for, maybe I just don't have it. Is that gonna fix it? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Good.
I just unclicked it. Okay. Yeah, well,
Well,
it didn't come in clicked when it came in my canvas.
What happens sometimes is I forget to put the due date in it, and then it doesn't show up on your calendar.
Okay, that's cool.
was
Yeah, that's
worried
why.
I had done that.
Perfect.
Cool.
Now that's fixed. All right, thanks.
Thanks for your help, Zed. Have a good day. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Brother Murdoch. I missed Monday, so I just wanted to say hi. I'm sorry that I missed that. I honestly thought this class was starting a little bit later into the semester, but
Oh, no problem. It sounds like there's some confusion all around, and I'll fix the meeting room on the syllabus was one thing. Did you get the message that I sent, like a class announcement? Oh, what's that?
I got your email that was like, hey, we missed you.
Okay, but you didn't get the one before that said, here's when we meet and the times and the Zoom link and everything?
No, I didn't.
Interesting. I'm still learning how everything works with Canvas. I'm kind of a new teacher.
Okay.
So it sounds like somehow those announcements don't always work. Sorry about that.
It's okay. No, I wish I was maybe a little bit more vigilant, if anything.
No, it sounds like you're getting things squared away. So glad to have you in class.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll look at the syllabus and everything else, but yeah, no. Have a good day.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just email me, and you should be in a group now. That's the other thing, is you can always ask people in your group for help with stuff that you don't know. Are you in group 6 or 7 then?
6. That's when I joined.
Yeah, so actually I guess everyone in your group is new, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well just email me then if you need anything while you're looking through the assignments and stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.